off of this same sheet, she's looking at instruction. The instruction, which is student instruction expenditures on that, state average is 67.9% of the what you spend in the breakdown. And by law, we have to be at 65%. Emanuel County is at 71.2%, which is above the state average, which is where we should be in instruction. We're spending more, which that actually means we've got some people, teachers that we're employing that are being paid with local funds there, essentially. School administration is $491 per FTE, or 6.2%. That is equivalent with the state average. So I think every other category we're either the same or lower than the state average for staff services, school transportation, maintenance, and operation. We are spending about $7,880 per student on an annual basis to educate them. That's the state average is $8,965.
But I do agree that we need to start there to minimize the effect on direct instruction of our students. Totally agree.
And if I remember correctly, in one of the articles that I read in the Blade, there was an outside financial consultant being hired. For what reason, and how much did that cost?
Answer that. When we saw that what we were looking at here, I wanted another set of eyes to come in and see if we could maximize some revenue sources. And for the last 2 days, we've had a gentleman here. He was here at this morning's meeting. He charged us $500 a day. We've paid $1,000 for 2 days. And he's already found, he feels like, he called me and had this afternoon, $500,000 in additional revenue if we follow his suggestions on the way we code FTE and apply for funds. We spent $1,000 and we're going to reap many more times from that. And this gentleman was in the district for 2 days. He's an expert. And we are going to, as a district, look at ways to maximize our funding. And I'm glad you brought that up because it goes right to what I wanted to say. We have a sheet here that shows our QBE earned positions versus what we have. And down the line, we might be 1 point teachers more in this area or less, half a teacher here. We've got one area that stands out. Emanuel County we employed, but earned 16.75 teachers less than we earned in the area of special education. We're having to pay 16.75 teachers that the state's not paying for in special education. But you got to realize there's one piece of the school system that is almost autonomous, and that is special education on IDEA, students with IEPs. As superintendent, I can't overchange an IEP. As a Board of Education, by their collective vote, they have no authority over an IEP. If a student has a known disability and there's a plan written, we have to provide it. And that is the one area where we are over, if you will, over what we're being allotted for tremendously. But Mr. Isa, who you're speaking of, our consultant, will be working with us this afternoon on making sure that we're maximizing how we categorize. There's a category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we are. And those are different ways that we're making sure we're weighting and helping advise our IEP teams as they draw these plans so we can maximize funding in that area. And that's going to be a major push as we head towards what's October 10th is our FTE count day, first count day where we earn our funding from the state based on how many students are here. It's going to be a major focus of our abilities to maximize and improve our funding so that we can get more funding for these 16 teachers we have to have. But we're just not doing the best job we need to be doing in terms of coding for maximum state funding there.
Judy? Yes, ma'am.
The money that we're spending per child, how much of that is local effort and how much do we get from FTE? Can Andy tell me that?
Okay. We've got about 4,250 kids in the county. Locally, we're spending about, per FTE for local tax revenue, about $1,100. Is this your question? Okay. On the state level, from our state funding, we're spending another $5,900 per FTE. At the federal level, $877 per FTE, which comes to what it costs to educate a child essentially in the county for Emanuel County, $7,955 per child. Now, on this same report, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but on the same report, and this is another one of those that's available to the public on the Department of Education website, the state average to educate a child would be $9,120, with $3,700 locally. And I know that's hard to look at because you've got a lot of wealthier counties.
How many students do we have in Emanuel County who are not Emanuel County residents?
I'm looking to see if Terry Burke does our data is in here. I don't have that number. She's like,
I don't know that number, but we earn FTE on them.
But you don't earn local money. You still earn it.
right, their parents aren't paying taxes, I see where you're.
Their parents aren't paid for citizens. So how many students do we have from outside of Emanuel County?
I can have the answer at the next military, or tomorrow if you want to call. I'll have it for you.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer to that question at this point in time either.
How many of them go to Adrian?
Well, Adrian's going to be our biggest school with more out of county because you're right close to, you're right there with Johnson County. But
Johnson and Truman.
Has the board thought about charging for those students to come to Adrian School? I know in Toombs County, they have a city system and a county system. That child comes to that city system, that parent pays for that child to be there. That parent pays for that child to ride the bus. We're providing services. I think Judy's whole point is for these students that we're not getting anything back for, that live out of our county. Has the board thought about addressing that problem?
Vicki, we don't transport. They
You
have
don't
to
transport them across the county.
No.
I'm sure you don't.
No.
But are they on those buses at some point in time?
I don't think so. Are they?
The bus that runs to Midville, I think, runs to the second, what's the center at Midville? River Quest. That's a bus that transports some students to River Quest for educational purposes, but that's. We don't have a bus from Emanuel County going into Midville and across the county line. If they're coming, and I won't say in every case, but in most cases, some of them crossing, some of them that are in Emanuel County that may technically live, a lot of them do have some property in Emanuel County. I'm not saying every one of them do, but some of them do. And I don't know just how many students there are that's coming from out of county. Not a tremendous amount, maybe some, but we'll look into that and find out an answer to that. Got another question? Did that predominantly answer, it must be a question, again, we'll check, Judy, we'll check that out too. Does anybody else have a question they want to ask?